Hi everybody, it's your girl Malibu and welcome to Status of the Nation. So today we're going to be breaking down some of the biggest stories that's been happening. First of all, let's talk about the drama that's brewing between Pres Zuma and Blades Monday. So the way the story goes is that these two are not getting along, right? A report came out last week from the Mail and Guardian basically saying that Blade has been trying to get a hold of the president, to have meetings and things that they're supposed to do. I mean, he's the president, he's the minister. They must meet and talk about these things. And the thing is, president has not been returning any of his calls or any. What I found very interesting, I'm like, it must be so awkward when you're trying to get in touch with number one and he like blue ticks you. Like imagine like you're sending him a WhatsApp and he's like, I'm done with you. So the way the drama started is because Blade is not really pro the people that the president has been associating with. So the SABC CEO and all of those other different things, and he's been very vocal about it, right? So the powers that be are basically saying that the president doesn't really appreciate the fact that the minister is not agreeing, and he's been very vocal about it. Not so long ago he was talking about how the president needs to distance himself from the Guptas and all of that. So they're saying that's what's creating the rift. For me, I just feel like it's so problematic, right? Like that's where we've gotten, like the level of discourse, because it means that now if you disagree with number one, it makes it difficult for you to do your job, or you disagree with number one and suddenly you're left out in the cold. Because then it poses another question of like, does number one only want to be surrounded by people who agree with him? And if that's the case, then how is that really true leadership if you're only around people who agree with you all the time? Either way, these two need to fix it, they need to work it out. And it's looking a little personal, where I just think it's a matter of politics. If I don't agree with your political views, we should be able to still do our jobs, because that's what your jobs are. But we'll keep seeing how this goes. I just think it's really interesting that they're beefing. I know you guys probably have heard about the firefighters and all that drama that's been going on. So basically, for those of you who don't know, 301 firefighters from South Africa were sent over to Canada to go help them out because they've got like this fire that's been going on and everything. So when they got there, everything was cool. So the way the story broke is that our South African firefighters, when they went over to Canada, they found out that they were being paid $4 an hour versus the Canadian firefighters were being paid $11. And one of the members who was involved in the whole negotiation was basically saying that they should have been paid according to their laws. They also should have been making this $11, right? And that's basically where the dispute started, where the firefighters over in Canada were not happy because they're like, what, we're not being treated the same as the other firefighters. And there's a company, it's called Kishuga, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, and they basically part of public works. They've come together, they won this tender, and that's how they were able to send the firefighters there. So let's look at the math of how this thing went wrong. So basically, when you see it with the math, you can see how the firefighters were not getting what they were supposed to, and this really is what it comes down to. It was just a wage dispute, and people felt like they weren't being treated fairly. What I found so interesting about this, I was like, this is when the story then broke over here at home, the level of judgment that people had for the firefighters. I mean, one of the things that was coming out is that, we're so embarrassed. You guys went over there and you embarrassed us, and you went and you were, doing, I think it was one of the news outlets was busy calling them the dancing firefighters. And I'm like, this is such a typical tragic South African story. It's like you're so concerned with your perceptions and being embarrassed, and people think you're being silly, that you're forgetting the fact that people are not being treated fairly. You're forgetting the fact that people are doing this work and they're not getting compensated the way that they should be. You're forgetting that people are putting their lives on the line, and if they're not getting what they were supposed to, they shouldn't be happy about it. And I feel like it's so anti-poor and anti-black of us for when things like this happen, for that to be our first reaction. You're so concerned about your embarrassment that you're not thinking about these other people. I was like, it's such a tragic South African story in the sense that this is usually what happens when people get treated unfairly in this country. We don't even step back to hear them out and hear what is really going on. And if anything, this should be shining a light to say that you need to treat people fairly, you need to pay people fairly. And it's so it was Youth Day in our country a couple of days ago. Youth Day for me, it's an interesting day for a number of reasons. I mean, June 16 in this country, our politics always go to the left. Someone always does something or says something that takes it all the way to the left, and it's always a bit of a problematic day. But for me personally, June 16 is my late mom's birthday. So it's a day where I'm just like, I just be in my feelings, and I think about my mom and stuff like that. So it's not really a day that I spend on social media and doing that. It's just a day I take for myself. Plus, it's a public holiday in South Africa, so it means I get to chill. But this youth day, per usual, the politics went a bit left. And when the politics went a bit left, it was the leader of the Blue Party. He was at a rally and he basically said that he was, I suppose, talking about the level of education that we have in this country, and was basically talking along the lines how Bantu education was a lot better, right? So you look at his comments that he was making on education, and for me it lets me know that the leader of the Blue Party really hasn't done that much research on education in this country. I'm not disputing that education in this country is a mess, but to liken it to Bantu education is just really hurtful. And I just feel like he has a knack of always wanting to draw these parallel comparison between things that shouldn't be compared. And I for one, I just think like it's over, because it's like, how are you gonna compare the two? And I feel like you are trying to make a point and talk about the education in the country, but this is not how you do it. So I was really very disappointed when that rhetoric came out, and I'm like, here we go again. Here we go again. And I for one am just over it. Then this happened. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say much about it because that's what happened. Another thing that happened was this. I'm also not going to talk about it because we all saw how it went down in court. We all saw what happened. I'm over it. And then taking it abroad, just prayers and thoughts, for Ghana as a nation. They've been experiencing a lot of floods. It's been devastating to the people over there. So, just my thoughts and my prayers go out to people in Ghana. And yeah, we just hope that the nation is able to rebuild again, and that, they can, just come together as a nation, as a people, and just move on from this tragedy. It really, really is a sad, sad thing to have happened. So yeah, thoughts and prayers out to the people in Ghana. And I'm sure by now you guys also heard about what happened in Orlando. I don't even know what it is that can be said about this, except for, just hate is what motivated this. Hate is what drove this to get to where it is, and it's a tragedy. I think it's something that no one expected. Obviously no one expected this. No one would have thought that this would ever happen in 2016. So it's a tragedy, and really my heart, my thoughts and my prayers just go out to the families, because people lost their children, their friends, their cousins, everything. So honestly, my heart goes out to the people. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the US elections now. You guys know it's getting close for them. So talking about Hillary, you guys remember we talked about how President Obama actually endorsed her. Well, this week, Oprah Winfrey also endorsed her. Now, when you're Hillary and you're looking at those optics, they matter. Having someone like Barack and Oprah endorse you is a big, big deal. So she's putting in all the major players, all the big names, and it looks like going to the polls, she's gonna have a really, really strong, she's gonna have a really strong shot. So we'll see. And it really is coming down to just her and Trump, which, I mean, for a lot of American people, they really feel like it's not really a choice, because it's like either way it kind of sucks for them. So I'm like, yeah, but for me as an outsider, I will say one thing though, that Donald Trump is not it. He's not the one. That's not how the country and the people are going to move forward. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys think on some of these topics. We stay in the comment section, so yeah, we'll be talking about this back and forth. Thanks for watching.